Hello and welcome back to the Dugout podcast. This is a bit of a sort of special episode. We're previewing Celtic's Champions League match against Slovan Bratislava. As you can see, we're all in the same room today. We're actually at university, but I've got Laurie and Ethan with me today. First of all, Laurie, how you doing, mate?
Yeah, pretty good. Delighted that the Champions League is back. It makes midweek a little bit more bearable, doesn't it? I mean, not just having football at the weekend, so I'm glad that the Champions League is back with us, and at least we've got a little bit of Scottish representation, maybe a little bit less than we'd hoped for, but hopefully Celtic can do a good job in Europe for us.
Yeah, and I agree. It's good to have it back, and with this new format, we've got games all week, which is quite exciting. Ethan, I'll come to you. How are you feeling about Celtic?
Yeah, confident. Celtic have started the season almost well perfectly. Really, couldn't ask for more from them. But the Champions League's always the big test that despite European or domestic dominance, they've not been able to crack
Yeah,
crack
it's
it
always
essentially.
something that the fans always want more out of, and the women's team have been doing it. You know, they've got a big opportunity. I think it's this week and next week to make it add to their actual Champions League. I think the men's team need to follow suit and show the fans something.
Yeah, especially with this new format, it seems like it's more favourable and it's more fair across the board. With a lot of the kind of you say weaker teams have like reasonable games, and you look at the likes of PSG, I seen have a very difficult run.
hmm
But yeah, Celtic have got some home games especially. They should be really looking to pick up points.
Yeah. This I think this format's presented some opportunities, especially looking at Celtic's fixtures for them to make it into at least the top 24 and get into that playoff round. But before we talk more about Celtic, we'll just dive into their opponents. Slovan Bratislava, the champions of Slovakia. This is actually their first ever UCL campaign. Laurie brought up just before we started they might have played in the 50s, but this is the first sort of in the modern UEFA era. I think the furthest they made it was the playoff round back in 2015, was it, Laurie?
One year out, Alex, 2014 it was,
2014.
2014-15, yeah, so.
Yeah, so um, big deal for them, and it's not as if they scraped their way through or they were in the final round. They really went through. They went through four ties. So they went up against FK Struga, the North Macedonian champions. They beat them 4-2 at home, and then went and won 2-1 away, which uh, which was a good result for them. And then they played NK Celje. Uh,
Sounds right.
these pronunciations are going to be quite poor with them, but they played NK Celje. They drew one each with them away from home. They went back to Slovakia and they put on a statement performance with a 5-0 victory, um, which propelled them into the following round where they took on Apoel Nicosia, the Cypriot champions. They beat them 2-0 at home and then drew 0-0 with them away from home. So you know, they haven't lost so far in qualifying, and they continued that. They drew 1-1 with FC Midtjylland, the Danish champions, and then beat them 3-2 at home to get into the Champions League. So it was almost a perfect qualifying campaign, Laurie.
Yeah, I mean they'll have no complaints about that. Of course, they were coming through the Champions Path, so as I've gathered, every single one of those teams, of course, including Slovan, have won their domestic, leagues. So these are teams who have probably went into the Champions League campaign with, positive, positive momentum on their side, really. And Slovan have still managed to, use that to their advantage and, put these teams to one side. And I mean, there's teams with some real European experience in there, the likes of Midtjylland, who are, I would maybe not so much Champions League, more so Europa League regulars. They're another team who I'm sure would have fancied their chances of of getting into the competition proper. So Slovan will no doubt be delighted to have finally made it to, well, the Champions League proper. I was going to call it a group stage, but we need to get ourselves out of that habit, don't we?
Yeah, definitely with this new format. But yeah, in terms of league form, they're top of their league. They haven't lost in all competitions except from one game. It's a bit of a strange one. They lost 5-0 to Zalina, who are second in the division. They're 1 point behind them. But Ethan's been looking into the lineup that he thinks are going to be playing against Celtic, and he thinks that was a highly rotated side.
Yeah, looking at the lineup, which they played a lot of their key players that they played in the qualifiers. They only really started three of the players that I can see playing on Wednesday night. Only three. So you can see maybe not 5-0 is a bit of a strange result either way, but if they're rotating eight of the first team kind of starters out, then you expect them maybe to lose against one of the stronger teams in the league. But 5-0 obviously as a eyebrow raising result.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I think it shows they're there to be got at, but like you said, it's a different side. A few players to watch out for. They've got a lot of experience in the side. Ethan, with the likes of Vladimir Weiss, who I'm sure a few Celtic fans will remember. He spent some time at Rangers. I think he's one of his most notable moments was playing that quick free kick through Nikita Jelavic in the League Cup final. Came off both posts for a Rangers victory, but he'll be looking to come and make an impact. He's the top scorer in their history for Champions League. Laurie, you were saying,
Yeah, that's
seven
right.
goals.
7 goals. I mean, not bad considering that this is their first time in the competition proper. So Vladimir Weiss will be, I've no doubt, desperate to come back to Glasgow. And I was, no disrespect to Vladimir Weiss here, but I was a little bit surprised to find out that he's only 34. Between us all, let's be honest, we had a little bit of confusion about
Yeah, I got a bit confused between his dad, who's actually the coach of Slovan Bratislava, and him. I thought they were the same guy, and I was like, well, he's really old, but different players. But Vladimir Weiss will be looking to make an impact. But Ethan, their star man, it seems this season, Barsegian,
Yeah,
off the right hand side.
yeah, he's got 8 goals in 12 games this season, and he looks like, based off the stats and the goals, he looks like the danger man. Armenian international, and they've got Robert Mack, who you might have heard the name, Slovakian international. He's also getting on a bit, 33, but I don't think he'll start. He's not really started a lot of the games recently, but he has had 5 goals this season, and I think, as we said with Vice, I think it'll be David Strelec, the striker who started against England in the Euros. He's got 5 goals this season. I think that'll make up the front three.
Yeah, it is dangerous on the face of it. It's one of these games that Celtic should be looking to win, but they shouldn't take it for granted. Definitely. On to Celtic, perfect domestic form this season. Haven't conceded a goal in the league. Um, Ethan, you mentioned the players you think will be playing for Slovan. How do you think Celtic will line up for this one?
I think maybe strangely, as we've seen that Brendan Rodgers rest players before for the start, but I think it will be the same team that started against Hearts on Saturday. I think there won't be any changes. I think it'll be the same back five with Schmeichel and goals, with Greg Taylor, Liam Scales, Cameron Carter-Vickers, and Alistair Johnson. And I think it'll be Arne Engels' impressive full debut. I don't think we've seen the best of him, but definitely a good start.
Yeah, he showed signs with that
Yeah,
shot off the post, and he looked really comfortable on the ball and under pressure as well.
yeah. There was a few times where you could see him getting caught on the ball a little bit, but obviously the Scottish game's quite different than the German game. It's all high intensity and stuff like that. But you obviously get used to that, and maybe he'll flourish even more in these kind of more open games, you would think. Although I'm not sure how Slovan Bratislava will set up, whether they'll try and go at Celtic or they'll sit in and try and defend. I think it'll be Rio Hatate and Cal McGregor, obviously. Unfortunate for Paulo Bernardo after his brilliant performance, man of the match, worthy performance against Rangers, and then the front three, I think, picks itself with Maeda, Kun either side of Kyogo.
See, just on the front three,
Yeah,
for me, I don't think it does pick itself. I think I'd give Adam Ida an opportunity. I know
yeah,
it's a big game to throw him into, but Kyogo, he's been doing well, he's been playing well, but he's got one goal this season. I brought it up in the episode on Monday there. I just don't I just don't know. I don't know how long you can wait for him to start putting in the goals. I think maybe Ida should be given an opportunity.
And I would back that up as well, because I kind of think in the Champions League or, in high kind of level European football, it's key to be clinical, especially if you are the likes of Celtic, where wins and points are going to be few and far between. This game against Slovan, especially
It's
at
an
Celtic Park,
opportunity.
massive opportunity. And to me, from the outside looking in, Adam Ida is probably a most clinical finisher.
Yeah, he is. He is a brilliant finisher. You'll give him a chance, and he'll put it away. And unfortunately, me and you have both been on the end of opportunities like that. In the cup final, and then obviously when Celtic came to Rugby Park, you give Adam Ida a chance, and he'll put it away. So I think I know you
Yeah.
want to stick with Kyogo, and he's obviously earned a lot of goodwill from his 3 years at the club. Last season maybe didn't score as many, but the first 2 years he was brilliant. But this season I think it's time to give Ida a chance. Definitely. I think it's quite a fluid situation, the striker situation. It could go either way. But Celtic are obviously in a good position where they have these two strikers to choose from, and the rest of their squad is playing really really well. But yeah, as I think we'll
No, I
just
think. I'm sorry, I was going to
sorry,
jump in there. I think it's a luxury to have Adam Ida. There's talk of signing a quote unquote second choice striker for 10 million, 9.5, however much it is. But maybe depends on how Brendan Rodgers sees them lining up, and if maybe they play like a high line and he sees Kyogo getting in behind, or if
think he could play both of them. Think he would do
I
that.
think I think he can, but
I
we've
mean, that
seen
was
Kyogo on before out of kind of in behind, and it doesn't really work. His movement into the box and getting the chances isn't there as much. And I think we've seen him on his first appearance in Scottish football against Hearts. He started on the wing, but I don't think he will. But
Do you
yeah,
think he would go
definitely
for
could.
two up top? Because he's done it a few times where
I don't see a harm in it.
He's kept Kyogo on the pitch and he's brought Ida on, and Kyogo hasn't necessarily been on the wing and they've kind of played as a two. And to me as well, Ida looks really strong when he's got Kyogo beside him.
Yeah,
He likes to play off of him. He's good at the lone striker. He's good at the hold up, but he is. I think he looks really really good when he's got a guy beside him as well.
yeah. I think that's definitely something that could maybe happen, but I don't think this game will be the one. I think he'll stick with the three in midfield and he'll stick with the two wingers. Tyson Maeda gives so much to Celtic out with his goal scoring abilities, his pressing and work rate. But I think it will be Kyogo. I think even though maybe he's not been the best to start the season, I still think his performance levels are good enough to worthy a start. He scored 2 goals in the group stages last season, and that maybe wasn't even the best Kyogo. So if he's more clinical and he's taking more chances, he could maybe even net a few more this campaign.
Yeah,
Potentially. I
yeah,
mean, he's he's been a bit of an enigma heel for you guys this season. He's probably been the one weak link, as we mentioned, on Monday's episode. But I don't know. I'm very much on Alex's side of play Adam Ida in this game. But of course, you could make the argument of two up front, or of course on the wing, or even in behind if Brendan Rodgers changed formation. But I think that one's unlikely. But
yeah. It's fun to speculate
Yeah.
and talk about this stuff. I think he should play Ida and give him the chance. But I think the rest of Celtic squad is pretty, untouchable at the moment. Maybe you could argue about Austin Trusty's new signing, big money. However, Liam Scales has been playing really, really well, and I think it would be unfair to him to drop him. But yeah, that's sort of the teams talked about. Slovan's road, Celtic's form. But this is the final shout, guys. How do you think the game's gonna go? I want to score predictions. I'll come to you first, Laurie.
okay, so I'm going to start things off on what I would say is a fairly optimistic footing. I'll say Celtic are going to win 2-1.
Okay.
2-1. Yeah. Old trusty scoreline. That a lot of people go that. Ethan, what do you
Um,
think?
I think this will be Celtic's toughest test of the season thus far, but I do think they'll pass it. I think it'll be 2-0 Celtic.
I'd agree with that. I think it is a lot of Rangers fans might not like hearing that, but Rangers didn't really pose them any threat, any much of a test at all. So I think Slovan will put up a good fight, But I'll go Celtic 3, Slovan Bratislava 1, and Celtic will pick up the first 3 points of the new Champions League format. But this has been a good one. We wanted to do this the other day, but it's kind of worked out well, and it's been fun to do like an exclusive video talking about the Champions League coming up. But thanks, guys, for once again coming on and doing this. I know it's our podcast, but I like it. I like that you take time and you dedicate yourselves to this. But it's good fun. And thank you all for listening and watching. Go check out at the Dugout 2024 on Twitter. Thank you and goodbye.